What happens when one of the biggest names in entertainment sits down for what should be a routine interview only to find herself being torn apart by the host? You're about to find out? Because Jennifer Lopez just endured one of the most awkward, confrontational interviews of her career live on The View, and the tension started brewing right from the very first question, before we dive into how an ordinary chat spiraled into chaos and left everyone in that studio stunned. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below because you won't believe what you're about to hear. That morning, Jennifer Lopez walked onto the set of The View expecting nothing out of the ordinary. She was there to promote a new project, announce some tour dates, and have a lighthearted conversation with the hosts. The audience was buzzing, cameras were rolling, and the energy was upbeat. Everything looked routine. Jennifer took her seat beside Joy Behar, who was stepping in as the lead interviewer. But from the moment the interview began, it was clear Joy had a very different kind of conversation in mind. Instead of the typical warm greeting most guests receive, Joy's demeanor was cold, almost indifferent. She barely glanced at Jennifer, flipping through her cue cards like she was looking for ammunition, not questions. And when the red light on the camera blinked on, Joy wasted no time setting a brutal tone. "So, Jennifer," she said, her voice laced with sarcasm, "let's talk about your latest project, another romantic comedy where you play basically the same character you've been playing for the past 2 decades. Don't you think it's time to try something new? Or are you planning to keep recycling the same formula until audiences stop buying tickets?" A shocked silence swept across the studio. Even the cameraman hesitated, unsure if what he'd heard was real. Jennifer's smile flickered but didn't fade. She kept her composure, the way only a seasoned pro can. "Well, Joy, I believe audiences relate to stories about love and relationships because they're timeless," Jennifer answered, calmly but with a trace of surprise. "I've been lucky to work with some incredible writers and directors who keep these stories fresh. I try to find something new in each role I take on." Joy wasn't impressed. She leaned back in her chair, scoffing. "Fresh perspectives? Come on, from where I'm sitting it looks like you're cashing in on the same romantic lead again and again. How many times can you play a successful woman who finds love unexpectedly? Isn't that the plot of, like, half your movies?" The other hosts started exchanging uneasy glances. Sonny Hostin looked ready to jump in and shift the tone, but Joy was just warming up. Jennifer adjusted slightly in her seat, her smile tightening. "That feels like an overly simplistic view of my work, Joy. Each project is a new challenge, a chance to grow. And I'm not just acting, I've produced many of these films too. That gives me creative control over the stories we're telling." "Creative control?" Joy repeated with a mocking grin, throwing up air quotes. "Is that what we're calling it now? Because to me, it looks like you found a cash cow and you're riding it whether or not it adds anything new to cinema. Seriously, when was the last time you actually took a risk as an actress?" The atmosphere in the room shifted. You could feel the pressure building like a storm. Jennifer's jaw tensed. She stared straight at Joy now, no more dodging the hostility. "I don't know what you're trying to do here, Joy," Jennifer replied, her voice cool but firm. "But I didn't come here to be attacked. I'm here to have a conversation about my work. I've been in this industry for over 20 years, doing what I love and connecting with fans around the world." Joy didn't back off. In fact, Jennifer's resistance seemed to provoke her even more. "Attacked? I'm just asking what people are thinking. You've built this empire as America's sweetheart, but behind the polished image, what's really there? When the cameras are off and the makeup comes off, who is the real Jennifer Lopez?" Jennifer blinked, confused and frustrated. "What kind of question is that?" she asked, her voice edged with disbelief. "Are you suggesting I'm fake just because I work hard to present myself professionally?" "That's part of being in show business," Joy sneered. "Professional image? Is that what we're calling multiple marriages and high-profile breakups now? So we're calling all those tabloid stories just part of the job now? Is that what this is? Because from where I'm sitting, this doesn't look like professionalism, it looks like pure desperation." The audience gasped audibly. "Even the production?" Crew looked caught off guard by just how personal Joy's remarks had become. Jennifer's expression shifted from confusion to real hurt, and then to something far more intense. Controlled, calculated anger. "I can't believe you actually said that," Jennifer muttered, her voice barely above a whisper, yet somehow heavier than if she'd shouted. "My personal life is just that personal. The media covering it doesn't give you permission to weaponize it in what's supposed to be a professional setting." Joy leaned in, clearly thrilled that she had rattled Jennifer. "Oh, please, don't act like it's private when you're the one tipping off paparazzi about your dinner dates." Or releasing public statements about every breakup and reconciliation. You can't play both sides, Jennifer. You can't chase media attention when it suits you and then cry foul when the questions hit too close to home. Jennifer suddenly stood up, her chair scraping harshly against the studio floor. The jarring sound made everyone freeze. "That's what you call real questions? Character attacks and personal jabs?" she snapped. "I've done more interviews than I can count, Joy, and never have I been treated with such blatant disrespect." Joy let out another one of her signature sarcastic laughs. "Unprofessional? No, what's unprofessional is coming onto a show and expecting nothing but flattery and softball questions. This is The View, not your own private PR campaign." The other hosts attempted to step in, but Joy raised a hand, stopping them cold. She was clearly enjoying herself. This was her moment to humiliate someone she clearly saw as an easy target. "You know what your real problem is?" Joy continued, her voice rising with every word. "You're used to people treating you like royalty-like. You're untouchable, but guess what? This isn't a fan club, Jennifer. This is a talk show. And I'm not going to pretend your latest film is some groundbreaking masterpiece when we both know it's just another vanity project to keep your face on a movie poster." Jennifer's hands were trembling, but it wasn't from fear. This was raw, boiling rage being expertly contained by years of camera experience and public grace. "You clearly have some kind of issue with me, Joy, but I'm not going to sit here and be your emotional punching bag because you need a viral moment or you're in a bad mood." "An issue with you?" Joy's voice now dripped with mockery. "Sweetheart, I don't form personal issues with people I've never met. What I do have are professional standards, and I won't sit back while celebrity worship gets mistaken for real journalism. If you can't handle direct questions about your own career, maybe you should reconsider giving interviews at all." That word, sweetheart, hung in the air like a slap. Jennifer narrowed her eyes, and the whole studio seemed to hold its breath, sensing something unforgettable was about to happen. She inhaled slowly, and when she spoke again, her voice was stripped of all polish and performance. This was the real Jennifer, fed up and done playing nice. "You want to talk about professionalism, Joy? Fine. A real journalist asks questions relevant to why a guest is invited. A real journalist doesn't use the spotlight to launch personal attacks on people they don't even know. And they certainly don't belittle their guests like they're children who need discipline." For the first time, Joy's smug look cracked just slightly, but she quickly masked it. "Oh, now you're lecturing me on how to do my job?" She sneered. "That's rich, coming from someone whose toughest acting role in 10 years has been choosing which designer gown to wear to a red carpet. You've got to be kidding me." Jennifer's voice now surged with anger, no longer trying to hide it. They're up here preaching about professional standards while you're sitting there, bullying me in front of a national audience? You honestly think that makes you a tough journalist?" "No, it just makes you cruel." The studio fell into an uneasy silence. A few murmurs rippled through the crowd, but no one was laughing. This wasn't the segment they came for. It was raw, uncomfortable, and everyone could feel it unraveling fast. Joy, on the other hand, seemed to thrive in the tension. "Bullying? Is that what we're calling honest questions now? You want to talk about cruelty, Jennifer? Cruel is churning out movies that dumb down audiences just to keep up your lavish lifestyle. Cruel is snatching roles from talented actresses who could actually bring something meaningful. Cruel is pretending to be relatable while living in a world most people can't even imagine." "You don't know anything about my story," Jennifer fired back, her voice tight with emotion. You don't know what I've had to overcome to get here. The rejection, the years of being told I wasn't right, that I didn't fit Hollywood's narrow mold of what a leading lady should be. You don't see the work I do behind the scenes, the teams I support, the causes I fight for, the barriers I've helped break down for other Latina women in this industry. Oh, here we go, Joy scoffed, waving her hand like she was brushing off a fly. Cue the victim monologue. Poor Jennifer Lopez, fighting the system from inside a mansion while flying first class. Do you really expect sympathy because Hollywood didn't roll out a red carpet fast enough? Rejection is part of the business. Everyone faces it. Most. Don't use it to build a brand out of victimhood. Jennifer stood, fists clenched, fury written all over her face. You're something else. I came here to talk about my work, to connect with fans, to have a real conversation. And you turned it into some bizarre public shaming session so you could play armchair psychologist. Joy laughed again, that same cold, dismissive laugh. You think this is entertaining for me? This isn't entertainment, Jennifer. It's sad, watching someone with every imaginable advantage cry victim instead of owning their actions. It's pathetic. It's exhausting how entitled celebrities have become, like the world should thank them just for showing up. Other co-hosts were visibly trying to intervene now, but both women were locked in. This had gone far beyond awkward. It was personal, fiery, and teetering on the edge. Entitled? Jennifer's voice trembled with anger. You want to talk about entitled? What's entitled is ambushing someone the moment they sit down. It's abusing your platform to tear people apart under the guise of journalism. What's entitled is acting morally superior from behind a desk while doing nothing more than using a microphone to bully people. Joy's smugness cracked. For the first time, her face flushed with anger and the condescension faded. A bully? She snapped. I'm a bully because I ask tough questions? Because I don't suck up to you like everyone else? Maybe the real issue here is that you're surrounded by people who never tell you. No, so when someone finally challenges you, you fall apart. Challenge? Jennifer's voice caught for a split second, revealing something deeper hurt. This isn't a challenge, Joy. It's a takedown. There's a difference between hard questions and calculated attacks. What you're doing is toxic. And honestly, it's beneath everything this show is supposed to stand for. Don't lecture me on what this show stands for, Joy shot back, the professionalism gone from her voice. I've been doing this before your name meant anything. I've sat across from presidents, world leaders, Nobel Prize winners, people who actually move the needle in the world. And now I'm expected to sit here and pretend that your latest rom-com is groundbreaking news? That's not just frustrating, it's insulting. Jennifer blinked, stunned. So that's it. You think you're above me. You think because I make films that entertain instead of win critical awards, I'm not worthy of basic decency? You believe I don't matter because I make people laugh instead of making them think? Joy looked at her and said slowly, with a voice laced in cold condescension. She said, there's a difference between entertainment and art. There's a difference between being famous and being important. And I think a lot of people in your position have forgotten which category they actually belong to. The entire studio fell into a heavy, deafening silence. You could hear the low hum of the cameras. Even the crew had paused mid-motion, stunned, as they watched this pivotal moment unfold right before their eyes. When Jennifer finally spoke, her voice was soft, barely audible, but somehow more powerful than anything she had said before. You know what, Joy? You're right about one thing. There is a difference between being famous and being important. But there's also a difference between being a journalist and being someone who uses their platform to belittle others just to feel superior. And right now, I know exactly which one you are. Joy's expression drained of color. For the first time since the interview began, it hit her maybe she had crossed a line. I think you're being a little dramatic, Jennifer. This is just a conversation. A conversation? Jennifer let out a bitter laugh, sharp and hollow. You spent the last 15 minutes tearing apart my career, my personal life, my character, and my humanity. And you call that a conversation? You think cornering someone and trying to strip them down on live TV is just a casual chat? Joy tried to defend herself, but the fire in her voice had dimmed. I'm not trying to destroy anything. I'm just trying to have a real discussion about celebrity, culture, and entertainment. No, you're not, Jennifer replied, her voice unwavering. You're trying to embarrass me because you believe it makes good TV you want to watch. Someone break on camera for the sake of ratings. But I'm not going to give you that satisfaction. Turning toward the other hosts who were still frozen in stunned silence, Jennifer spoke with genuine remorse. Ladies, I'm truly sorry for what this has turned into. This isn't the conversation I agreed to have, and I'm certain it's not what you anticipated either. But I won't just sit here and be treated like a target no matter how polite. I'm expected to be. She looked back at Joy, whose discomfort was now undeniable. The control she once had over the moment had clearly slipped through her fingers. And you, Joy? I hope this was worth it for you, because what happened today, this wasn't journalism. This wasn't professionalism. It was cruelty, plain and simple. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every breath, every flicker of emotion, every word in this unraveling moment. Jennifer faced the main camera directly, her gaze steady. To everyone watching, please understand, this isn't what The View is supposed to be. The other women here are professionals. They ask tough questions, yes, but they do it with decency and respect. What happened here today? It's not normal, and it's not acceptable. Joy tried to take back the reins, her voice shaky, but still clinging to defiance. Jennifer, you're overreacting. This is television. This is what talk shows are. It's normal for things to get intense sometimes. That's part of it. Jennifer turned to her, and the look in her eyes was unforgettable. It wasn't fury anymore. It was something heavier, pure disappointment. It was the sharp, painful clarity that comes when someone finally sees the truth in plain sight. No, Joy, this isn't how talk shows work. A real talk show means asking thoughtful questions, listening with intent, and treating your guests with basic decency. But today, you planned an ambush. You came here ready to rip me apart and used your influence to try to make me feel like I don't matter. Joy started to speak, but Jennifer gently raised her hand to stop her. I'm not done. You want to know what's really tragic here? You had the chance to have a real, meaningful conversation with me. You could have asked about my journey as a Latina in Hollywood. You could have explored what it's like to juggle a business empire while nurturing a creative career. You could have asked about my work with charities or even about my experiences as a mother, but you didn't. Jennifer's words hung in the air like a verdict. The other hosts gave small, subtle nods, clearly aligned with her words. One of them looked like she wanted to apologize for the entire show, while the others sat stiffly, visibly embarrassed by the disaster that had unfolded. But here's what you didn't count on, Joy. Jennifer's tone began calm, but with each word her voice gained intensity. You know what you didn't expect? That I've spent my entire career handling people like you. You're not the first to try and diminish me, and you won't be the last, but I'm not the woman I was when I started. I won't sit here, smile, and let this slide just to keep things peaceful. Joy was visibly uneasy now, shifting in her chair as it hit her that this interview had spiraled out of her control. Jennifer, maybe we need to pause and just reset the conversation, she said hesitantly. Reset? Jennifer repeated, incredulous. You honestly think we can hit reset after the way you came at me? After you questioned my character, my career, my private life, my worth as a person, and now you want a clean slate? That's not how things work, Joy. It's never that simple. Jennifer started gathering her things, and for the first time, everyone in the studio realized she was leaving. Panic washed over the crew. Producers looked frantic. Co-hosts exchanged confused, silent glances. And Joy? She looked like she'd just woken up in a nightmare of her own making. You know what really breaks my heart? Jennifer asked, standing tall and staring down at Joy with pity and disappointment. The real shame is how you chose to use your platform. You had the chance to lift someone up, to use your voice to inspire, to show women that success doesn't require sabotage. Instead, you proved the exact opposite. Joy's cheeks flushed deep red, her composure cracked. Jennifer, maybe. I came off a little harsh, but I was only trying to ask what people are thinking. No, Jennifer said sharply, cutting her off. You were trying to manufacture a viral moment. You weren't interested in a conversation. You were hoping to be the one who took down Jennifer Lopez on live television. Well, guess what? You got your headline. Hope it was worth it. Jennifer scanned the studio, the startled crew, the stunned co-hosts, the breathless audience. To everyone else watching this, I apologize. This isn't how I operate. This isn't the kind of drama I ever wanted. But sometimes you have to draw a line even when it's messy, even when it's public, even when it hurts. She turned toward the stage exit, but something made her stop. She faced Joy one last time. And Joy, I genuinely feel sorry for you. Sorry for anyone who thinks tearing others down is how you rise. Sorry for people who have so little real joy in their own lives, they feel the need to steal it from others. And I'm sorry for anyone who can't see there's room for all of us to win without attacking each other. Joy scrambled for another chance to fix what had broken. Jennifer, please, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Let's start fresh. Let's talk about your work, your journey. Jennifer stood at the edge of the set, her voice soft but uncheckable. I came here ready for that. I wanted to talk about my work, my experiences, my passion. But from the second you opened your mouth, it was clear that's not what you wanted. You weren't interested in my story. You wanted spectacle. And now it's too late. Silence filled the room. Even the cameras seemed frozen. You know, I've learned a lot in this business, Jennifer said, addressing the room. You can control how people treat you, but you can choose how to respond. And today my response is this: I'm walking away. I'm leaving this toxic energy behind. This negativity, this need to belittle others, I want no part of it. She turned toward the main camera, her voice steady, her eyes unwavering. And to anyone out there who's ever been bullied, shamed, or made to feel like they're not enough, I want you to know something. You can walk away too. You don't need to stay in spaces that shrink you. You deserve better, and you get to define your own worth. She turned and walked off set. The sound of her heels echoed like the final beat of a drum. The cameras followed until she was out of sight, leaving behind silence, shock, and something much bigger than just a celebrity moment. Joy sat there, completely still, staring at the place where Jennifer had stood. The other hosts looked away, disappointed. The audience remained silent, still processing what they had just witnessed. Finally, one of the co-hosts cleared their throat and muttered, "Well, that was unexpected. Maybe we should go to a commercial break." But Joy didn't speak. She didn't blink, because deep down she knew she hadn't just lost control of the interview. She had exposed who she really was. And it wasn't what she wanted the world to see, the moment she hoped would make her trend. It would, but not for the reasons she had imagined. As the cameras finally shut off, a heavy quiet lingered. Everyone in that studio knew they had just watched something unforgettable, something that would reshape the way people viewed The View, Joy Behar, and the nature of celebrity interviews itself. Jennifer Lopez had walked away, but what she left behind was more powerful than any performance. She left a lesson, a reminder of the value of self-respect, the strength it takes to walk away from toxicity, and the courage it takes to never let anyone make you feel like you are less than enough. Now the question is yours. Was Jennifer Lopez right to leave? Or should she have stayed to try and repair the damage? Let me know in the comments below.